The rules for some sports are written by governments. Hunting and fishing, for example, and they're enforced by law officers. The rules for other sports are written by associations and by tradition and history and enforced by referees and umpires. Now, there's a lot of criticism and joking about those who wear the black and white striped zebra uniforms, but without their influence, athletic events might be more like war than games. Whenever there's a bump on a basketball court or a close play at first, there's usually a dispute. And then it's time to call in the umpire.
I played high school football, I ran in track, and then in the summertime I was a lifeguard on the swimming team, and then I also played high school basketball. After junior college, I went to Eastern Washington State College in Cheney, and I tried out for the basketball team there, and I didn't make it. So I decided at that time, well, I wanted to stay in sports, and it was obvious that I didn't have enough talent to play the sports anymore at a collegiate level. So from there, I took a couple of basics of officiating classes, and then after I graduated, I moved to Othello, where my first broadcasting job was, and one of the people at the station was a softball umpire, and he decided, well, you get off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so we need some people to do high school baseball. So I went to baseball and then softball, and then from there to the other sports. So basically I'm about a 6-person sport. The only one I don't really do is I've never been involved in the soccer, and basically after a summer of the rain of softball, the fall is cold and rainy, and that's usually when I go on vacation between softball and basketball, so I just have never gotten involved in soccer.
Even without working soccer games, Bob Sims is Juneau's busiest referee. When not officiating a game, Sims can often be seen along the sidelines at the scorer's table or on the headsets announcing the game for radio or TV. It was broadcasting at KINY that first brought him to Juneau in 1975.
I made up sports reports for the radio. I broadcast the high school sports like Crimson Bears basketball. And then in the summertime I would do some Little League games and some Senior League games and American Legion games for the radio station. Now, since I work for the state, really about the only thing that I do as far as broadcasting is, well, of course, a couple years ago when K2 was broadcasting the high school games, I worked as an announcer on those. And now about the only announcing that I really do is during the gold medal games, but I wish there was more around because I really enjoy doing it.
Nice touch by Kristen Nelson as the ball hit the rim about 4 times and finally dropped in.
After I quit working at KINY, I applied for various jobs throughout the state, with the state, and that's the first job that came open was a license clerk. And since I had done a lot of typing and stuff at KINY, preparing logs and stuff, that was the first job that was offered to me, and I got into that and decided that I liked it, so I stayed. Well, basically, I'm an insurance market analyst, and what I do is I work with personal lines, which is automobile and homeowners. We go out and if we have a consumer complaint or something of that nature, we'll go out and find out if the consumer complaint is justified. We also work with insurance companies. When they send in rates and forms, we have to approve those rates and forms. So what I'll do is I'll study those rates and forms and decide, well, yes, you can make this rate change, or no, you can't make that rate change, or yes, this form is good or this form is bad. And so basically that's what my job is regulating the homeowners and auto for the insurance department.
Sims' sporting activities aren't just limited to officiating. In 1979, he was talked into helping coach a ladies' softball team. Since then, he's coached several teams, and the coaching has helped his officiating.
Just the relationship with the people on the team, seeing the game from a different aspect. I always see it from the officiating aspect, which I enjoy, but sometimes I enjoy seeing it from the players' aspect too. And it keeps me in touch with the players and how they feel about the officials, how they perceive the officials are doing. So it gives me a little bit of insight from both sides, which I think definitely helps me as an official.
Sims considers softball the easiest sport to officiate. The umpire there only has to concentrate on the ball and usually 2 players. Basketball, on the other hand, is more complicated.
Usually, in a basketball game, everything is so subjective that you just react to what you see, and then you just go on from there. In a softball game, it's a little bit easier because you've only got the ball and you and the player, and that's where the call's going to be. And there have been times in a softball game where I think, well, maybe I blew that call, but there's no such thing, no matter what anybody believes, of, well, the next one's going to go in my favor because he blew that one. All you can do is try to bear down and get all the rest of the calls right. In a basketball game, when we go back and look at the tapes and we'll say, well, geez, maybe I should have called this that way, or maybe I should have called that way. But basketball is such a spontaneous game, and you got 10 people with 2 sets of eyes looking at 10 people, so there's no way that I can ever second guess myself in a basketball game until I go back and look at the tapes.
In 1984, college basketball came to Southeast when the University of Alaska Juneau started its program. The faster college games presented new challenges.
The speed of the game is the biggest difference, and the skill of the players as far as from the officiating aspect. In high school, as an official, you're more of a teacher. You adhere to the rules a little more. You let a little less contact go because you're trying to teach the kids right from wrong. On the college level, most of the kids already know that. They know what they can get away with, they know what they can't get away with, they know the rules, they know what's right and what's wrong, they have much better control of their body, and therefore you go to a much more of a what officials and coaches like to call an advantage gained, where there may be some contact in high school and you would call a foul. On a college level, you might not call that same foul because there's no advantage gained. Say 2 rebounders go up and bump and the ball goes to the other side or something, there's no reason to call that foul. It slows down the game. So basically, the college game is much more of an advantage gained game than the high school. I think the college coaches are much more intense because it's more of a win situation in college than it is on the high school level. Most of the high school coaches are teachers of some sort, whether they're phys ed teachers or math teachers or whatever. So with them, teaching comes first and coaching comes second, and they're trying to develop a well-rounded student athlete. And that's supposed to be the aim in college too, but I think the college coaches definitely place a little more emphasis on it, and therefore there's more pressure on the officials to do a good job in the collegiate level. The biggest thing that I find as an official, as far as expectations of players, expectations of the crowd, expectations of coaches, is that in officiating, like in softball or in basketball, if you hit 350, you know, you're a great basketball player, or you're a great baseball player, or in basketball, if you shoot 50%, you know, that's a great shooting percentage. But officiating is the only thing that I know of where you have to be right 100% of the time, and then you have to improve on that, which, you know, is virtually impossible.